Hello, lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. Now, it's been a hot minute since I've uploaded a video. At our last touch point, I had uploaded day 6 of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. It's the 12th, and so I'm a little behind. But as you can see from the chaos behind me, there's been a lot of cleaning. I was a little bit ill this week, went to the doctor's office. Being pregnant and sick is not a fun thing, and I know I had gotten over a cold from Christmas, but I also had some other pregnancy-related issues come up. Everything's fine. Just so that you're aware, I'm fine. Baby's fine. But yeah, it's been a bit of a chaotic week. So what we're going to do here is run through, as quickly as I can, but also as thoroughly as I can. We're going to go through days, days 7 through 13 or at least through 12. Let's do it in chunks, okay? We'll do days 7 through 12 of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. Now, all the information's in the description box below. If you don't know what it is, we're just going to dive right into it. Day 7 is the most worked deck in 2018. I had a couple for different reasons that I want to touch on. So the first one was the deck that I used primarily for client readings. So if you had a reading for me, chances are you actually had a reading with one of the following 2 decks. The first one is the Morgan Greer Tarot. Just love this deck. This is like one of my go-tos. It's fun, it's vibrant, it's colorful. It's a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, meaning it follows that system. And I just really resonate with the images a lot more than I do the standard Rider-Waite. So I also have the travel version in a tin. Use that a lot on the go as well. So this was kind of my number one. Number 2 that I used a lot towards the end of the year is the Tarot Fauna. Now, I already showed you guys this deck, so I won't really flip through it again, but this is just such a fantastic animal deck. I love it so much. I do think that Devin still has a few copies left. If you want to snag this from her, you would go to the Love Light and Legacy Etsy shop. I'll link it below. But yeah, just wonderful deck all the way around. And then the last one was the one that I heavily used for personal use. And for that reason, this one's probably the most worked deck if I were to rank them all. And that is Ethany's Bad Bitches Tarot. You guys, this deck is just so gorgeous. Still love it. It pretty much stayed on my working altar all year. Just gorgeous, gorgeous images. A lot of diversity in this deck. And the clothes and the positioning, the poses, the mannerisms of the figures in the deck, and it's all women, it's just really speak to the essence of the card, I guess I could say, or the energy of the card. Like, look at that. I love it. So if you love fashion, or really just want like an amazing female deck, like this is a brilliant one. So this I worked with a lot personally, and I'm looking forward to still connecting with it in 2019. But there are some other decks that I do want to play around with more, which we will get into in the other prompts. So as far as day 8, we have top 5 decks on your wish list now. I've already spoken about doing a depth year and about really diving into the decks that I have and not necessarily purchasing or pre-ordering more decks. That being said, I do have a number of decks that are on pre-order that I purchased in 2018, or even slightly before that, the end of 2017, that I were waiting for. One of those decks is the True Black Tarot. That should be coming really kind of any day now. I'm really excited to have that one. Been waiting more than a year for it, and I've seen folks get some of their decks, and it's just, I think the creator did an amazing, amazing job on this one. So definitely can't wait to dive into that one, especially with regards to shadow work. It's called the True Black Tarot for a reason. It's completely black, with yummy gold, white, light, imagery. So I will link that down below if you guys want to take a look at it. It's stunning. The next few that I have on pre-order that should be coming out sometime this year, they're either in print production, almost to print, being shipped from the printer to the creator's location to be shipped out. So they're all in various stages. And that is Avalon Cameron's Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot. Been watching her Bonestone bashes. Her and Anna Torin creating this deck. Oh, this is like the first community input created deck, which is really exciting. It was exciting to see the tarot community pull together and help influence the writer and the artist in creating this deck. Now, 90% of it is still Anna and Avalon, as it should be. But the fact that we were able to contribute and make suggestions was really amazing. Now, what turned me off about the process, and I'm sure it turned off Avalon and Anna to a degree as well, there were some folks in our community who were very vocal about their opinions and really degrading in, vocalizing their displeasure at certain choices with the deck. And I'll be honest, that really pissed me off. And like I said, Avalon and Anna are very, very sweet souls. Not that they'll put up with a lot of shenanigans, but they were very gracious with the community in sharing this creation in the first place and in welcoming us into the creative process. And I just really thought that was kind of, kicking a gift horse in the mouth with the way that some folks were reacting to the choices being made. And ultimately, it's their deck, right? What they decide goes into it is what's going to go into it. We're being invited in. We're guests in that creative space. So there were some folks that kind of took advantage of that. It's the downside to being online. There is a certain amount of entitlement that comes with, the community when it's a collaborative effort. So that was unfortunate, and it was really unfortunate for Avalon and Anna to have to go through that. But the deck is in the can, it's at the printers, and I cannot wait to hold it in my hands. And I'm really excited for them both. Anna's also working on another deck, not open for pre-orders yet. Not sure if I'll be able to pre-order it when that window comes open, but her art is amazing. The next couple that I have on pre-order are, I backed through Kickstarter, Chris Ann Donnelly's Lightseers Tarot and Muse Tarot. You guys, Chris Ann is also an amazing artist. She is the artist behind the Sacred Creators Oracle. And she did 2 decks simultaneously, and they both have very different flavors and feelings, but they are sister decks. So I really, really can't wait to have those in my hands. I couldn't pick one over the other, so I got both. Because I got both. So those are just a few of the decks that I do have on pre-order. I also have on pre-order, and I'm kicking myself that I missed it the first go around, but very excited she did a second run, the Dust to Onyx tarot. Oh my goodness. You guys, this deck is so beautiful and rich. Just the textures seem to jump off of the cards. Oh, it is gorgeous. And it is features all Black women created by a lovely Black woman, of course. And just, oh my God. This deck is stunning. Her artwork is amazing. And for those of you that have watched me do unboxings and stuff like that, you guys know how much artwork draws me in. Like, that's one of the main reasons why I collect decks. It's about the artistry. So yes, while I do love creators and writers, love you all, the artwork is really what grabs me and sucks me in. So when I see a beautifully illustrated, painted, crafted deck, I just like, it immediately grabs my heart and I have to have it. So it's no surprise that the artists behind each of the decks that I mentioned are amazing. Very, very talented individuals. So those are all of the decks that I am not so patiently awaiting right now to enter my life into 2019. They were all pre-ordered in 2018, so I'm still in alignment with my depth year no buy on the tarot and oracle deck front. But those are the ones that I'm waiting for currently that I don't have in my hot little hands. Now, day 9, tarot goals for 2019. I only have a few, and really, they also align with my depth year. So my first one is to really dive into the decks that I have, working with them, integrating with them. And the way that I'm kind of going about doing that is isolating myself to 1 to 2 tarot decks and 1 to 2 oracle decks really each month. Like, diving into those decks, using them for everything. For January, it's been the following 3 decks. They're on my working altar. This is what I've been using for all of my readings, in addition to all of my magical work as well, which is important for me. I do use tarot and oracle decks in meditation, channeling work, meditative work, and in ritual. So decks don't just play a role in my divination practice, but in basically all areas of my magical practice. So that first deck is the Color Mage Oracle. And this is the extended, copy is in here as well. So these cards, it's all color. And this one is one of the extended editions. So you can see the difference here between the extended and the original deck. They have the same backing though, so you can integrate them very nicely in with each other. So what I've been doing is pulling a card each week and using that as my color inspiration in conjunction with Chris Ann's Sacred Creators Oracle that I mentioned. So I have been pulling a creator card since my 2019 word of the year is create. to help also inspire me with creation and all of my creative endeavors. So these two have been very close to my side on my working altar, along with this bad boy mentioned in the first video here when we did the message draw. And that is the Ellis Tarot, this yummy, gigantic, gorgeous deck here. I love these cards so much. So this is kind of my first deck of 2019, my first tarot deck of 2019 that I am really diving into. And then I will kind of set him off to the side and work with another deck for February, which I haven't really decided on what that's going to be yet. Some of my other goals for 2019 are really just to, again, going along with my depth year, diving in and reading all of the books that I have purchased and have just kind of been collecting dust on the shelf. One of those is a follow-up to, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Anthony Lewis's his first tarot book. Oh, where are you? You're there. Tarot Plain and Simple. This is the follow-up, and that is Tarot Beyond the Basics. I purchased this the beginning of last year, and it's literally just sat around. Want. Yeah. Not making very good use of my resources. So I've had Anthony's first book, Tarot Plain and Simple, probably for about 10 years now. And it's one of my favorite basic books. And I do still reference it from time to time, look stuff up. The other day I was poking around in it for, I think, astrological correspondences. Although now I've been using the holistic tarot as more of a tarot reference resource, and that's Benebell Wen's, kind of like an encyclopedia. That book has everything, let me tell you. But I bought Anthony's book because I love his writing style, or his second book, and like I said, I just didn't get around to reading it. There was a number of books that I bought in 2018 that I didn't get around to reading. One of the other books that I wanted to really dive into and get through, if I can unload some of these decks over here, is from Mary K. Greer, who is an amazing, I don't know, tarot guru? I don't even know how we want to word that. But I got for Christmas the second edition of her Tarot for Yourself workbook. And so I thought, you know what? It's a workbook. I want to really dive into tarot in 2019. Hey. So I thought, yeah, I would just each month take a chapter, and kind of go through this and really fill it out and just work with it and use it as a tool to really help me dive deeper into my decks, since that's one of my goals for 2019. So those are my two really big tarot goals. Excuse the cat, she's kind of psycho. Jumping into the window right now. She can't really see anything. It's 11:19 at night. Not quite sure what she's looking at. But you'll probably hear her climb down here in another minute or so. Okay. Days 10 and 11. Let's combine those. These are tarot decks and oracle decks that you want to work with more in 2019. We kind of covered it a little bit, but here are just a couple of the decks that I do want to integrate into my once a month go around or kind of dive into. And one of them I had already mentioned was the Spirit Keepers Tarot. This deck, you guys. It's so gorgeous. And I'm getting really excited seeing all of the updated drawings and things that Benebell is doing for the second edition, which is going to be amazing, by the way. It's got a sepia look to it, so ooh, very, very luscious second edition coming. But I do have the first edition. I do have the Book of Maps printed. So during one of the months, I do want to dive into this deck and specifically work with the Book of Maps and kind of go through all of it. Another of the months, I do want to dedicate to the Numinous Tarot. You guys. Again, with the artwork. Now, this was created by Noelle Hempel, who is another artist creator. They drew and wrote the guidebook, and this is like a big, hefty, juicy guidebook, by the way. Like, look at that. Pretty luscious. I don't think I was able to do an unboxing of this one, probably because I just like jumped right in. I've only read with it a few times. And it's phenomenal. So, see, it's washing it out a little bit, but we've got gilded edges with this one too. And this deck is somewhat Rider-Waite-Smith based, but it's very loose, because what Noelle did was kind of go through it and really rewrite a lot of the titles for the cards in order to make them more non-binary, gender neutral. So like the court cards have to do with level of mastery versus page, knight, queen, king, you know, the common titles that we have for court cards. Also, the suits were reimagined. They did tomes for pentacles, you know, to kind of cover knowledge. We've got bells here in place of swords for the air element. Excuse me, look at that tower. Oh my goodness. What else do we have? I do think we still have cups. Candles in place of wands for fire. And so, like, for example, we have Mystic of Bells here in place for the queens. Let's see. Vials. That's what it was. Vials in place of cups. And the explorer here, I believe, is the knights. Or no. So creators are the queens. And then the mystics are the kings, I want to say. I believe. And then instead of like the Empress, we have the Nurturer. So they did a really great job of really making this deck just the Founder instead of the Emperor. Really lush and diverse and wide-ranging. We have a whole bunch of different races in here. We have different sizes of folks. We have different ages of folks. It's just, I love that. That King of Cups, Mystic of Vials. That's one of my favorite cards of this deck. And then I think the Dreamers are the pages, I believe. So just really, really amazing artwork here. And they just did a brilliant job. Love this deck and definitely want to work with it more. Plus has one of my absolute all-time favorite lovers cards in a deck. Look at that. Oh my God. I just love it. It's my favorite. Oh. Anyway, so rambling on a little bit too much, but the Numinous Tarot is definitely one that I will be dedicating an entire month to, if not, maybe even a little bit longer. Apologize for the squeaking. Ugh. This is a really huge box for this deck, but I get it because the guidebook's really big. So what I might do is put the box aside, find a lovely colorful bag for the deck, and then just have the book on my bookshelf because this is not a very friendly cardboard box. In addition, there were some other decks that I pre-ordered in 2018 that showed up towards the end of the year. Like, for example, Joe Phillips' Divine Diversity Tarot deck. This is another one that's really amazing. Magic and Mediums Oracle. I also have the Threads of Fate Oracle that are up there. So there's a lot of decks that I do want to deep dive into just to kind of show you Joe's here. I can't really do an unboxing. There's a lot of nudity in this deck, just to warn you. But the size of these cards, you guys, and his artwork, that's what got me. So here's the Fool, just to give you an example here. Stunning, stunning. This Magician card, you guys. Just a really, really yummy imagery. Our High Priestess. And so what's amazing about this is that we, again, all have different skin tones. There's different ages in here as well. Now, what's great about this one, okay. Yeah, these aren't too bad. Okay. I really want to show you the Lovers cards because there are two. And there are two Devil's cards as well that have the same kind of, theme going on. That one's a little bit more risque, so I'll show you, believe it or not. But I'll show you guys the Lovers cards. So we have a traditional Lovers card, although I guess really it's not as traditional because you're not really going to see a lot of different skin tones in most tarot decks, which is kind of disappointing. But here we have more of a traditional Lovers card, man, woman. We've got the angel in the background. And then we also have two males as well in this one. I guess it would have been nice to have thrown in two women, but I get where he was going with this. So this is really great because if you use this deck for client readings, you can swap out the cards. You have the option here of swapping out what relates to you. And these are both brilliantly drawn. Like, look at that. He did a stunning job on this deck, I have to say. So really excited about that. That was one of the things that was like, ooh. And that was the whole point, was to really have something where more folks were represented, like with the Numinous Tarot, with this one, Divine Diversity, just seeing, getting images here of more wide range of folks. And it's like, look at that Justice card too. And his art is just amazing. Our Death card, that one got me with the little girl and the halo of stars. And the moon shining in the background like this. Oh, the shadow work that you can do with this deck too. It's just amazing. So we'll skip the no card, although you'll see, you know, there are two very similar to the lovers that we have as well. It's just, you know, very vibrant. Amazing stuff here. And I love that Judgment is Anubis. Like, this was another card that, you know, I saw the image on Kickstarter and I was like, I need this deck. So just really, really good stuff in here. You know, it's definitely one of my more, it's probably going to become one of my more favorite decks. So can't wait to work with that a little bit more. 10 of Cups here. More of a different type of family than what you would see in the 10 of Cups, which is brilliant. So just really amazing illustrations and imagery, you guys. Ugh. That Queen of Cups. Now that is an Aphrodite if I've ever seen one. So really good stuff here and that I have, and very excited to dive into. Considering this deck is like kind of giving me all the feels, this might be a really good summer deck actually. Now that I think about it, it also has the gold edging. Back is reversible, which is awesome. So yeah, amazing job, Joe. That was awesome to see in my mailbox in December, by the way. So I do have several decks, both Oracle and Tarot, that I do want to work with more in 2019. Now let's cover day 12. Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome in your tarot practice? And that was a question submitted by Maria I apologize, Maria Alves Hernando. Imposter syndrome. Yes. And you know what? I don't know any tarot readers that don't at some point or another have to deal with imposter syndrome. I think that if you have, you know, a healthy dose of both ego and humility, that at some point you're going to run into imposter syndrome. And so for me, there are times where it comes up. You know, there's actually a certain amount of, even though I've been reading for a very long time and reading for clients, for, let's see, I've been officially reading professionally for a little over a year now. But I have been reading for not necessarily paying clients, but like in exchange for things. Been reading for folks for probably about 10 years now. Probably a bit longer than that. Yeah, way longer than that. I would say probably since I was about 18, 19. I was really reading for those who weren't just friends. Prior to that, it was just reading for friends. And so I would read for colleagues and friends of friends, you know, it was reference in exchange for, like, you know, we'd swap out stuff. So I would get a wire wrap necklace or something and then do a reading for them, some sort of exchange like that. But I've been reading professionally for about a year, and I have been working with the tarot for almost 19 years. Be my best guess. I picked up my first deck when I was 15, and that was the Celtic Dragon Tarot by DJ Conway. It is now since been passed to one of my nephews. And even with that stretch of time, and even with the number of readings that I have done, there are still moments of, I would even call it like performance anxiety that come about before a reading, where I sit there and I question, can I do this, or should I be doing this? Am I helping folks? And that kind of washes away, and I just kind of dive into the reading. I do the reading, I finish the reading, I send it out. And then there are times then too where there's a moment of panic. After the reading's gone out, I know it's been delivered to the client, and I'm like, shit. Did I completely botch this up? Did I tell them what they needed to know? Am I doing this right? Are these messages correct? I think there's always going to be a little bit of that, especially with someone like me who's very left brain leaning. I do have a lot of right brain tendencies because I'm a creative. I don't think you can necessarily do this work without having right brain tendencies, but I am a Virgo, and my mind thrives on, analysis and logic and rules. So there's always that skeptical mind at play in the background, that little voice that's like, that's not real. That's not legit. You're making that up. But then my right brain steps in and goes, okay, even if I'm making this up, this is what this person needs to hear. And 9 times out of 10, it turns out to be exactly what they do need to hear. And I feel that that's true for any reader. Our intuition can be really fine-tuned to tap in and read the messages of the cards and really convey what someone needs to know, at least in that moment in time. I've seen it. I've been, on the side of receiving a reading that was really powerful, only to find out later that that reader was like, I'm not really sure that I got that right. And it's, on the querent side, it's kind of funny to me because I'm like, well, girl, you were spot on, Spirit spoke through you, whatever it was, you were able to channel it, whether you believed it or not. So when I'm on this side of it, I just have to try and remember that. And I think for anybody dealing with imposter syndrome, look, it's going to come up. You just have to be aware of it. I think it's healthy, and I don't think it's something to beat yourself up over. And I would almost be concerned if you didn't have a touch of it. No matter how long you've been doing this work, I think it's just kind of part of doing anything intuitively. Even in my magical practice, there are moments where I will complete a ritual, I'll cast a spell, do a meditation to connect with a deity. And afterwards, as I'm writing it down in my journal, I'm like, this sounds like crazy nonsense. And then I just have to kind of pull back and remember, like, look, it's all perception. It's all experience. And whether or not anybody else thinks that experience of mine is valid is moot. Because it's about what that experience is providing for me at that point in time. And so I think about that when I'm doing readings as well. It's like, look, at that point, though, I switch it around. It's not about me. It's about the person coming to me and getting their questions answered. Okay. I hold no judgment over what the answer is. I just kind of let it flow out. and whatever comes, comes. And sometimes the message isn't always received right away. Sometimes it takes months down the line before, it hits the person who's asking right in the face and they go, oh my gosh, that's what they were talking about. I've had that happen before. So even if someone says, gosh, that didn't resonate with me at all, I try not to take it personally, and I don't hold any judgment over it. I just go, okay, if it's not resonating with you now, at least, be aware of the message. It may, click for you later on. And majority of the time, that's what happens. It's a delayed connection there. So be patient with yourself and work through what you feel you need to, and just keep reading. Just keep reading, keep studying, keep learning, keep experiencing. If you want to read professionally, I suggest getting readings yourself. Study, find a friend to practice with, join a tarot Facebook group that you can do reading swaps with. Benabel actually did, for this day, release a imposter syndrome tarot spread, which I thought was really cool. So go check that out if you're able to. I'm sure she posted it on her blog. I saw it on Facebook, but I'm sure she's got it on her website too. I'll try and find it and link it below, but check it out if you can, if you're struggling with that. So that was it. We just ran through days 7 through 12. I hope this was not too much for you guys. Thank you for sticking around with me, and I will see you in the next video. If you have any questions, my dears, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on other videos as well. We've got a lot more coming besides the 31 Days of Tarot. So stay tuned. In addition to the new microphone, I have also picked up a new camera. We are not filming with this guy yet, obviously, because I'm holding him in my hand. I do want to kind of get a feel for him first, play around with it. But apparently I can film in 4K on this. And hook him up to the microphone. So we'll test it out, see how that goes. But I'm hoping to up my game here on YouTube in 2019 as well. We'll see how that works out. But thank you for sticking around. And like I said, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss out on anything more. All right, loves, I will let you go. Thank you so, so much for joining me, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. But until then, blessed be.